Princess Leia, Part 3. Following the destruction of her home planet of Alderaan, Princess Leia Organa has set out across the galaxy in search of survivors. Leia and her crew, the pilot Evan, and the faithful astromech R2-D2 have scored their first victory, rescuing a cloister of Alderaanians from Naboo. Orbiting the fiery outer rim planet of Sullust aboard their newly acquired ship, the Lord Jun, the team has just found another cluster of survivors, only these may not be as welcoming as the last. Unbeknownst to the crew, one of their own is feeding their every moment directly into Imperial hands. With the bounties adding up, it's only a matter of time before the Imperials catch up with Her Royal Highness.
Hey Web World, Scotty D, thanks for stopping by to another video here in my comic book series on my channel. You want to watch the rest of the videos in the series? It's real simple to do so. All you have to do is go over to my main YouTube channel page. Once you get there, click on playlists. And once you're inside of the playlist area, look for comic book collecting, click on it. All of the videos are right there. It is that simple. And if you want to reach out to me, it's equally as simple. The email account, scott@scottydonline.com, and the Twitter account is @scottydonline. Both of those are in the video description below for easy find and easy use. Today we are here to talk about this comic right here. This is Star Wars Princess Leia #3. We're going to get to this one just in a second, but I want to show you some other comics that I've added into my collection when I picked up this one as well. I'm quite excited about the additions of these, but I have already done reviews of each one of these books in the comic book collecting playlist. So if you want to go back and see what I thought about each one of these respectively, those videos are already available for you to look at. But I've added all of the action figure variants into my collection as of this video, and this is the Marvel Star Wars #1 action figure variant. Luke Skywalker takes me way back to when I was a kid and I was collecting everything Star Wars and playing with it. I had a great time. I had every single one of these action figures that I'm showing you here, and it breaks my heart because I don't know where my original collection is. Somewhere along the line, growing up from being a kid to an adult, going to college and moving on, my collection has just disappeared. But I do have these variant covers to take me back to that time when you would go to a toy store and you'd see these hanging up on the pegboard with the little metal post sticking out. And this is what you would see from Kenner, which was the producer of the action figures back then. This is the Luke Skywalker action cover variant right here for Marvel Star Wars #1. Very, very cool. I'll set this off to the side. Here is the Marvel Star Wars #2 action figure variant. This is Han Solo right here. Very, very cool. One of the more sought after action figure variants that are out there is this one right here. Not quite sure why, but maybe it's just because Han Solo is such a badass. Maybe that's why it's just a sought after cover. I love having this in my collection because, again, it reminds me walking into that toy store, seeing Han Solo hanging from the pegboard as a kid and saying, "Mom, Dad, Grandma, Grandpa, I gotta have Han Solo." And of course, me being a kid and being a Star Wars geek, they got it for me. So now I have it again in the action figure variant cover right here. Very cool. Marvel Star Wars #2 right here. Here is Marvel Star Wars #3's action figure variant. Little Obi-Wan Kenobi for you right here on this video. Very, very cool. It looks just like the action figure that I remember. Of course, the cape on Obi-Wan Kenobi was plastic. It was a poly plastic. It was bendable, but it was definitely not cloth back then. It was really, really cheesy. I remember the back of the lightsabers had a little, kind of a little nub that stuck down, and you push it forward, and the lightsaber would come out, and you're like, okay, I'm geeking out. Sorry. It's what you do when you're a Star Wars geek. Love these covers right here. This is Marvel Star Wars #3, Obi-Wan Kenobi's action figure variant right here. Here is Marvel Star Wars #4 action figure variant. Little Chewbacca here. I had a chance to meet Peter Mayhew over the past couple of months. A very soft-spoken, gentle giant. A very substantially nice guy all around. I appreciated him having time to talk with me. I got a picture with him, with me and my family. Peter Mayhew, Mr. Chewbacca himself, and I'm proud to have this one in my collection. The Star Wars #4 action figure variant, Chewbacca right there. Very, very, very cool. This one right here is a prized possession in the action figure variant arena right here. This is my Boba Fett special limited print edition action figure variant. There's only 5,000 of these that were printed when they were published, and I got one of them. Very, very, very cool. I'm so happy to have this one in my collection. Let's just all ooh and ah over this one for a second. Let me just pan all around. There's the number 4 you can see right there, the action figure variant, and it says here the JTC variant edition. If you don't know what that means, I'm going to leave that for you to look that up. I know what it means, but it's in my collection now. The JTC special limited print edition Boba Fett action figure variant cover. Check out the details on Boba Fett right there. I remember having this character. It was so cool, and his jetpack had the rocket little nub that would shoot out on the back. Very, very cool. I love having this in my collection. Very, very, very cool. This is the Darth Vader number 1 action figure variant. So if you think that you only need to get your action figure variants for the Star Wars series, no. In order to get all of them, you got to get the action figure variants for all of the series that are out. This is the Darth Vader number 1 action figure variant. Very cool. Take a look at Lord Vader right there and his lightsaber right there. Very, very cool. Man, it just takes me back so much. A lot of great times with these action figures back in the days. I really wish that I still had them. It would just be so cool to say, I have my originals, but I don't. So, this is the Darth Vader. Here is the Princess Leia action figure variant for Princess Leia number 1. We're going to be reviewing number 3 here in just a second. This is the Princess Leia number 1 action figure variant right there. Very, very cool. And one last one that I added. This was a back issue that I needed for my original 1 through 107 series that I had. This is the Marvel Star Wars from back in the 70s and 80s. This is number 104. 75 cents back then. Can you imagine that? This is a great comic addition into my back issues right here. Very, very, very cool. So there we have it. All of the action figure variants. The Princess Leia number 1 action figure variant. Darth Vader number 1 variant. Boba Fett special limited print edition. 5,000 of these. JTC variant edition for Star Wars number 4. The actual standard action figure variant for Star Wars number 4. Chewbacca. Here is Star Wars number 3 variant edition for action figure Obi-Wan. Star Wars number 2 action figure variant Han Solo. And last but not least, again, Luke Skywalker in the standard for the number 1 action figure variant right there. But let's jump into this book right here, Princess Leia number 3. A very cool cover on here. You've got Princess Leia right here. You've got Evan over here. You got R2 down over here. A very cool comic book indeed. Last we left off in book number 2, Leia, Evan, and R2 were on a ship out on a mission to rescue any remaining Alderaanians that had escaped Alderaan prior to the destruction of Alderaan from the Death Star in Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. So this ties directly into that canonical storyline. This is canon. Get it in your pull list. If not, you're going to miss out on key elements to the canonical storyline. And while they were out on their journey, there was a crew member on their ship that was on a video chat that was quite exposing to their whereabouts and their mission and their plans. I thought that was a really strange way to end that comic book. I was like, wow, this is going to get deep. And it continues on in this book exactly where we left off in book number 2, where that video conference is now concluding. And we see the obvious what's happening here, because it is very clear that there is a mole on Leia's ship, and it's going to potentially be a bad thing for Leia. But you got to realize there's a limited number of books in this series. I believe there's only 5, so they've got 2 books left to wrap up the storyline, and I hope that they don't rush it. Far too often I've seen in Star Wars comic books, even back in the Dark Horse days, when they get down to the tail end of the series run, some of the books feel very rushed, and I really hope that they don't do that on this one. I hope they just really carefully craft a conclusion to the story at book number 5, and of course in book number 4, what's going to happen there. Because in this one, we see the mole is definitely on Leia's ship, divulging key information to the Empire. And we jump into this book, to the Sullust Enclave, where there's a secret breach, excuse me, a security breach that the Alderaanians that are in the cave notice. And when they pan over and they determine what the security breach is, and you see it on the screen, it's Princess Leia. And the leader of the Alderaanians in the cave doesn't recognize Leia and dispatches armed guards to go down and take care of the security breach. And I thought that was interesting because Princess Leia, being the key character that she is, and being well known as the princess, I thought it was interesting that they didn't recognize her right off the bat. So we see Princess Leia on the screen, and just then Leia, Evan, R2, and a guide, Mr. Tivy, are traversing the caves when their guide informs them that the locals are essentially insane. They've lost their mind. They don't trust anybody, and it's the way that this guard is talking. It's written in a strange language that I have not been able to find a decoder key yet for. So if you happen to have this book and you know what I'm talking about on this page, and you know where there's a decoder key, drop it in the comments below. Let me know where I can get this decoder key, because I'm a big fan of kind of keeping Star Wars text where I can decode it in my system so that I can check it for accuracy, because what they write on the screen, we just want to make sure that what they say they're saying is what they are really saying. So that'll be interesting to see if any one of you know the strange language that's in this book on that page, and where we can find a decryptor key to confirm what the guide is saying. Now, the armed guards eventually show up, but you can imagine they're no match for Leia, and Evan and R2 really surprised me here, because even R2 takes a stance and helps to protect and take care of Leia and Evan. And so the guards try to approach her, and she exposes herself. She's like, "Hey, look, I'm Princess Leia. I'll walk in with you as an equal or as your princess, but I'm not walking in as your prisoner." And I like that, because it stays true to Princess Leia's strength in being a powerful princess that she is, and that we know of from Episode 4, A New Hope. And the Preserver, that's the leader of the Alderaanians in this enclave. The Preserver quickly is reluctant to believe who she is when the guards and her arrive into her presence. She's like, "Hey, I'm your princess," and she's like, "I don't believe you." And so I thought that was kind of interesting, again, because why wouldn't you recognize Princess Leia? She's told you who she is, and she's exposed her origin. Why doesn't this person of this Alderaanian group recognize her? And this Preserver, his name is Jorah Estain, but again, she's reluctant to believe Princess Leia, but she gets put in her place very, very fast. And Leia explains to Jorah why she's here. She's here to help, because all of the Alderaanians are being hunted down by the Empire, and they're looking to abolish every last Alderaanian in existence. So Leia's like, "Hey, let me help you out." And she's like, "Hey, I don't believe you still." So at this point, R2 is ordered to help further the justification and help to better exemplify why they're there. And so when R2 plugs into their computer systems and exposes the data bank that's within, the con call, the video conference that I talked about earlier, gets exposed. And this really sets off the disbelief of Jorah and the Alderaanians in the cave that there's something shady going on here. Leia's really not who she says she is. She's here to work with the Empire. She's a traitor and whatnot. And Evan challenges Jorah at this point in time, and the intentions with the hidden colony. And so I don't understand what's happening right about this part of the story, because if Jorah doesn't fully trust Leia at this point for who she is and what she's there for, why does she take Leia into what's known as the eye well of the heart of the surveillance system for the enclave of the Alderaanians in this cave? If you don't trust somebody, why are you taking them into the heart of your security? I just didn't understand that part of the storyline. And again, Evan challenges Jorah's intentions with the hidden colony, and Leia says, "Wait a minute, hold on. There's a mission that we need to stay focused on. We're not here to fight this disbelief. We're here to focus on the mission at hand, and that's to save the Alderaanians," which I thought was really, really, really cool. Remember R2 trying to help out again. Remember that backfiring of the exposure of the con call, and then Leia starts to feel very defeated at this point, because the action picks up right here over the next few pages as an Imperial ship arrives. Again, that disbelief, the video conference call, exposure. Evan and Leia and R2 are scrambling at this point just to survive and stay focused on the mission at hand. But we get introduced right at this point in the storyline to a brand new character, or a monster race that I've never yet seen before, called a rock render. It kind of reminds me of a combination between a dinosaur, a beet-like character of some sorts, and a two-toed sloth. It's a very strange-looking character that you can see right here. But the fear that Evan says, "Wait, why would you even want to do this?" And Leia has to explain what this rock render is and how it survives and whatnot, that it will actually help them escape from the Empire, who has infiltrated the Alderaanians' enclave here. And the action ends with a few dead Alderaanians from the attack from the Imperials. And then Jorah finally, after all of this happens in the book, Jorah finally comes to her senses for the princess. And I thought, wow, really? You've let all of this happen in the storyline and let some of your fellow Alderaanians come to the demise of the Empire because you just wanted to be bullheaded? Princess Leia told you who she was. She told you why she was there. She told you, what the mission was all about, and you disbelieved her. And now some of the Alderaanians are dead because of Jorah. And so it'll be interesting to see where we go with in the next book, because at this point, Leia says there's much to be concerned about right now. There's a lot more on Leia's mind right now than what just happened. She needs to find out who the mole is and how she can stop what could potentially be so catastrophic to her Alderaanian race. And the next book is set to hit the stands May the 27th, 2015. Make sure you get this book in your pull list. It is an absolute necessity for your pull list if you are a Star Wars fan, because this is canonical. You've seen a lot of things play out in this book that were never told before. We see a new monster race. We don't know where book 4 and book 5 are going to go, but I can assure you it's going to be an interesting story nonetheless. So this is Princess Leia number 3. This is the standard cover for Princess Leia number 3. There are some variant covers out there. I have not yet picked up any of the variant covers yet. If they strike a fancy in me, if I find a true interest in them for one reason or another, I will add them to my collection, and then I will showcase them to you here on the comic book series. But nonetheless, Princess Leia number 3. Please like this video if you did. If you don't like this video, I don't know what to tell you. It's my opinion, my thoughts, my first impressions, and that's the way it is. But definitely comment below. I'd love to see your comments about this series. If you have it, if you read it, if you haven't got it, let me know what you're thinking about, maybe what's stopping you from getting the series. Maybe I can help answer some questions. We do have the other book 2 and book 1 reviews in the comic book series playlist. Definitely go back and check out those. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, please. I do appreciate you when you become a subscriber of my channel. It only takes a click or two, because you got to click the subscribe button. After you click the subscribe button, click the little gear icon next to the subscribe button and enable the updates that let you know when we have a brand new update of videos here on my channel. And of course, if you already are subscribed to my channel, thank you so very much. And if you want to become more than a channel subscriber, you can become part of the Techertainment Elite and become a channel patron. There are some perks and rewards along the way when you become a channel patron, and you can find out more about the Patreon campaign over at patreon.com/ScottyDOnline. There's a video over there. You can read what the perks and rewards are all about. And if you feel so compelled afterwards and you want to get involved, I thank you so much for your support. Check out that over at patreon.com/ScottyDOnline. And until the next comic book series video or any other video series here on my channel, thanks for watching. Be good to each other. We'll see you next time, Web World. May the Force be with you.